let's look at the activity Counting on Katherine. You'll begin by reading the story, Counting on Katherine, about Katherine Johnson, who did all the mathematical calculations in order to help Apollo 13 make it safely back to Earth. Now, for younger students, this is quite a lengthy story, so you may choose to read the story in advance on your own and just be able to paraphrase the different ideas so that students get an idea of what happened in the story without having to read every word. Now, to continue that context, the students will be playing a game where they are trying to get the Apollo back from the moon to Earth. Now, there are 3 different game boards. Game board A is for kinder and first grade. Game board B is for second and third grade. And game board C is for 4th and 5th grade. And they each have different values. However, the way the game is played is the same at each grade level. Essentially, each student will choose a bingo chip to be the Apollo for them as they play. We'll use game board A. So they'll start on the moon. They will spin the spinner, and the spinner will tell them how far to move on their journey toward Earth. So here, I just spun 2, and so I would move my Apollo 2 spaces. And then every time students have a turn, they need to report back to NASA and talk about their location between the moon and Earth. Now, for kinder and first grade, Earth represents 20 units. So the students then, now that my Apollo is on 2, I would say, I've made it 2 units. I have 18 units to go to reach Earth. Now for the older grades, looking at 2nd and 3rd grade, you'll notice that the game board is counting in increments of 5. And the spinner tells students whether to add or subtract certain intervals or certain multiples of 5. So students may need their whiteboards in order to perform that calculation. For example, if they are on 85 and they spin, let's say plus 10, or let's say they spin plus 35, they may need a whiteboard in order to perform that calculation to see what their new location would be. And again, each time they should report how far they've made it and how far they need to go in order to update NASA on their progress. For 2nd and 3rd grade, the Earth is 200 units away. And so each spot on the game board is counting in increments of 5. For 4th and 5th grade, it is only 20 units away, just like the younger grade, except that each spot is counting by 5/10. So as they spin the spinner, they are going to be adding or subtracting a certain multiple of 5/10. Now you'll notice it's presented in different ways. So the students need to be able to identify the equivalencies between certain fractional values and the word form in order to add or subtract that certain amount on their game board. Okay, so as you walk around and discuss this activity with students, you may want to ask them, how are you able to determine your new location? What would, at this point on your journey, what would your report be to NASA in order to make sure that students are calculating appropriately and playing the game correctly?